Page 120, The Secret of the Method, Episode 120. The Inner Revolution, Why True Change Begins Within. Let me ask you a difficult question. When was the last time you stopped, completely alone, and honestly evaluated yourself? Not blaming society. Not blaming circumstances. Not blaming other people. But looking directly at yourself and asking, what must I change within me? Most people avoid this moment because the truth is uncomfortable. Yet every real transformation in history began with one thing: an inner revolution. Segment 1, The Forgotten Practice, Self-Accountability. Let us begin with a simple but powerful exercise. Have you ever spent a night questioning yourself honestly, evaluating your life, correcting your thinking, rebuilding your inner framework away from ego, flattery, social expectations, excuses? Most people never do. They live years, even decades, reacting to life without ever examining their own internal programming. But before anything else, we must establish foundations that never perish. Foundations that do not depend on trends, opinions, or temporary power. And when we finally look honestly at ourselves, something surprising appears. We realize something very important. Our lives are full of blessings we never asked for and never properly thanked God for. Health, time, opportunities, knowledge, protection. Yet despite all this, we still say, nothing needs to change. But deep inside, we know that something must. Segment 2, The Illusion of External Solutions. One of the biggest mistakes people make is searching for solutions outside themselves. They change jobs. They change cities. They change partners. They change projects. But the same problems follow them everywhere. Why? Because the real problem was never outside. The real problem was internal. Your mindset, your habits, your beliefs. Many people blame temptation, Satan, or society. But before all that, there is something deeper. A refusal to repent. A refusal to acknowledge mistakes. A refusal to express gratitude. And sometimes an unconscious belief that life is meaningless, that we were created without purpose. So we escape from the real questions. We distract ourselves with money, status, reputation. But the more we escape, the more exhausted we become. Thinking constantly, worrying constantly, running in the same maze, again and again. Segment 3, The Missing Anchor. So the real question becomes, where's your support? Where's the one you truly rely on? At what moment do we stop pretending we are independent and recognize that we depend on God for every breath? Even for a single moment, we cannot exist without Him. Yet many people live as if they are completely self-sufficient. And this illusion is dangerous. Because the Quran warns us clearly, those who believe themselves independent, who deny the truth, will find their paths becoming more and more difficult. Not because God hates them, but because they refuse the easier path, the path of humility and sincerity. Segment 4, The Easiest Change That People Refuse. Here is something paradoxical. The change that people fear the most is actually the easiest change of all. Internal change. Changing your heart. Changing your intention. Admitting your mistakes. Turning sincerely back to God. This transformation is easier than drinking water. Yet many people avoid it their entire lives. Why? Because it requires honesty. And honesty threatens the ego. But if someone sincerely believes in goodness and truth, help will reach them. Even if the solution were at the bottom of the ocean. Because sincere prayer travels beyond distance. Segment 5, Individual Reform versus Collective Awakening. But inner transformation is not only personal. It also has a collective dimension. A healthy society cannot exist without collective awareness. A community must be united around truth, justice, and knowledge. Not divided. Not scattered. Not confused. Strength comes from discipline and responsibility. Not from chaos. Not from hesitation. And leadership does not belong to those who seek power. Leadership belongs to the one who unites people around truth, liberates them from blind obedience to tyrants, protects justice even when it is difficult. This is the kind of leader societies desperately need. Segment 6. The courage to speak the truth. Unfortunately, many people remain silent when injustice appears. They fear their bosses. They fear authority. They fear losing status. So they stay quiet. They hide the truth. They protect the wrongdoers. But the Quran reminds us of something simple. God is more worthy of being feared. True faith means having the courage to stand for justice, even when it costs you something. Even when the truth is bitter. Even when it goes against your own interests. Segment 7. Why many reforms fail. Many movements fail because they try to change society without changing themselves first. They want quick results, immediate victory, external transformation. But without internal reform, external success cannot last. A person who lacks honesty cannot build a just system. A person who lacks discipline cannot build a strong community. A person who lacks courage cannot lead others. Because there is a simple principle. You cannot give what you do not possess. Segment 8. The disease of opportunism. Another obstacle to reform is the culture of opportunism. Some people become addicted to profit, exploitation, corruption, manipulation. They build wealth and luxury. They build houses and palaces. They believe their success will last forever. But their foundations are fragile, like the house of a spider. Because when trials come, when crises arrive, when injustice collapses, these structures fall quickly. Segment 9. The first step toward real reform. So what is the first real step? Not ignoring corruption. Not pretending everything is fine. But destroying the idols of arrogance and tyranny. These idols may appear powerful, but in reality, they survive only because people tolerate them. Because people stay silent. Because people are afraid. When awareness spreads, tyranny weakens. When people unite around truth, corruption collapses. Closing reflection. Real change does not begin with governments. It does not begin with revolutions. It does not begin with new systems. It begins inside the human heart. The person who transforms internally becomes capable of transforming the world around him. So tonight ask yourself one honest question. What must change inside me? Because the moment you answer that question sincerely, your real journey begins.